Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today, or in this video, we're going to be talking about these two 4080s. So I have the Gigabyte Aero and then I have the ROG Strix. Very different graphics cards in reality. One of the things I do want to say is you can go onto the channel to have a look at the Founders Edition review, which is up there as well. And you can go to the website for lots more graphs, lots more testing, more to the point, less waffle. Because let's face facts, we're just here for a calm conversation about NVIDIA's latest graphics cards. And more than anything in this video, it's about what Asus and Gigabyte have done with theirs. It's sad to say it, but there is no MSI graphics card here yet. I don't know whether one's coming, don't know. Quite a strange one for them, if I'm honest, but these are the ones that we have here today. So why are they different? Well, I think a lot of people are going to be chatting about prices with this launch, mainly because of weird naming and the fact that prices are going to naturally feel much more expensive. So the 3080, I said 3080 was $699 when it launched. The Founders Edition is coming in with an MSRP, if you can get one from NVIDIA that is, an MSRP of $1199. So that's a $500 increase. Now, one of the problems with reviewing stuff like this, especially at the moment, and being from the UK, is nobody knows what prices are going to be because the dollar-pound exchange rate is all over the place at the moment. So I don't actually have prices for these, but I have been able to have a look around online and find some dollar prices. Now, Gigabyte said this is going to come in roughly around the same kind of price increase that the WindForce overclock would have done with the 90. So I'm going to say this is going to be $1299, but I don't know. So we're just going to go with $1299 as a guesstimate. I'm filming this the day before NDA. That happens to be a Sunday. It's 6 PM. I don't know prices for either of these. I only know that one because it came in the review pack. So I'm going to go with $1299. I hope it's $1299. If it's more than $1299, probably not good. Now, this isn't the people in that I deal with's fault. It's just the fact that it's not being filtered down from up above. There's lots of stuff going on with, we don't know how much the disty's going to put on top of it. We don't know how much the retailer's going to put on top of it. And kind of because of that, although I'm not sure how I feel about it, Asus have now started selling graphics cards directly. So, and there's two ways to think about that. It either means that you can save a little bit of money because you're not getting it from a retailer, you're buying it direct. Or you could think about it as Asus are trying to get more of the profit. It's completely down to you how you want to go about it. Right, so I haven't been given a Strix price, but there was a thing that an article that went live, a news article that they put live on the website, that they had listed prices, I think it was Micro Center, in the US, and prices were going to go from $1199 up to $1549. Now, I'm not sure whether the $1549 comes in for the Strix or not, but if I'm completely honest, I am very much expecting this to be there, or maybe even more expensive. So I'm going to guess $1549. The reason why I'm going to guess $1549 is if you think about the price of the 4090, that was $1699. The Strix model was £2,500. So almost, well, it was what, £800 more expensive. So if this comes in at $1549 and then is basically £1,000 or dollars cheaper than the 4090, that's why I would not be surprised if it's a little bit more expensive. Now, the Aorus. Aesthetically, I wanted it because it was white. I haven't had a white Aorus for a little while, although I can pull out the rather small looking 3080 in comparison. It's not as deep, so the actual height of the card that comes out of the PCI slot, it's probably an inch shorter. It's not as long, and it's definitely not as fat either. So it's a bigger graphics card all over. Now, the Aero basically looks exactly like their 4090. And peering in, the only thing that I could see different was the 4090 had the shorter capacitors on it, and the 4080 had the taller, more generic looking round capacitors on it. And I could only really tell that by looking through the heatsink, because when they are new like this, I'm asked not to take them apart for the minute. But I do want to do like a strip down and stuff. But if I'm honest, the 4090 one's over there, and that's really the one that I've been told not to strip yet. And I know that because I wanted to paint it white. And I think that's why they sent me this one, because they're trying to appease me. And I don't strip it down, because I never know whether these graphics cards are going back, whether I get to use them for future reviews, or yeah, whether they're going to go on to other media. Now the Strix 4080 looks exactly like the 4090, to the point I could play one of those weird switchy around in games, and even I'm not sure that's the 4090. So they look exactly the same, very much so like with the Founders Edition. The Founders Edition 4080 and 4090 look identical. The Strix ones do as well. That would make good sense with them. Same cooler, same design, same PCB, just change the core on it, a little bit less memory. It saves the manufacturing, and I don't know, if the price difference is as big, then it does make you kind of wonder why you paid so much for the 4090 over the top, if the 4080 isn't going to be as much over the top. Which is another reason why I wouldn't be surprised if this is much more expensive than 1549. But I literally cannot do anything about the pricing at the moment. I can only talk to you about the prices that I have. I did say though that with the Strix, I actually like the fact that they've not just gone unicorn puke with the RGB and it just cycles red and blue. You can change it, it is fully customizable. You still do get the two 4-pin PWM connectors on the end of the card, although I do wish, like the EVGA card that we've seen recently, that they'd move the 12-pin up here as well. But it is a very long card, so half the reason why they've not done it is you would have issues fitting it in a lot of cases. So big, long, meaty card, exactly the same as the 4090. Same with the Aero. They both just gobble your attention when actually fitted to the system itself, because I know you guys like to see them in and fitted and everything going on at home, which is why I've started purposely drawing attention to it for you now so that you can see it. Now, performance. Yay! Performance. So, it's actually fairly quick for me to rustle through the performance, but you can obviously go to the website, look for many more results, go and have a look, get meaty, indulge. So I'm going to pick the one out that stood out, and it is the odd one out in reality, and that's Far Cry 6. And because I picked Far Cry 6, it's because the Strix in Far Cry 6 was faster than the 4090. It was the only one where it was faster than the 4090. But throughout the testing, it didn't matter what you put up. And it's at this point in my head, as I'm talking to you on camera, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just going to put graphs up for them in the edit and they can stop and pause and have a look. And as they're doing that, we get to the point where maybe we'll zoom in on my face and I say that the Strix was the fastest out of all of them. Shock, horror. But the Aero was, in reality, basically, if you could just change the name in the graph, it was effectively as quick, consistently on point, the same as the Founders. There was never really much in it. It is a Founders with a white dress on. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. I know a lot of you are going to say, well, what are we paying the extra money for? And you can say like the aesthetics and stuff, but you do need to remember that it's actually quite difficult for a graphics card manufacturer to be able to produce a graphics card for the same price that Nvidia want them to sell it at, because of the price of components and stuff like that. And that did that last time. It's obviously been sat and gone to sleep, because I've been here for a while. So it is difficult for them to make an MSRP card. So with this one, it's pretty much the size of the 4090. The cooler, the actual metal fins on it, are very slightly different to the 4090 with the 4080 because of that capacitor difference. But effectively, most of the things are relatively the same, to the point where I'm very, very much thinking about pulling the white stuff off of this and trying to fit it to the 4090 so that I can use it very selfishly and just hope that they don't ask for it back. So, Strix Powerhouse, very expensive. Although we don't know quite how expensive, but still, if it gets close to a 4090, you do have to go through the process of, do I just buy a 4090, spend a little bit more and just buy a 4090? Now, normally, that would be what I would be telling you to do, especially if this comes anywhere close to £1,600, anywhere close. I would be saying, maybe you should eat one less pizza. And, I don't know, I would say walk to work, but I don't want to be offensive because, let's face facts, we're all struggling to get to work because of the price of stuff at the moment. But I would be saying, go and get a reference 4090. But the problem with that thought is actually finding one, because they are in such limited numbers for launch and then possible promotions later on. 90% of the cards are going to be the overclock models, which is exactly the same card with a little overclock on it, because that's the only way that the manufacturers can really make much profit. And profit's not a bad thing. If people don't make profit, they go out of business. Look at BFG. Let's hope EVGA doesn't go that way. I would be saying that, but I do think you're going to struggle to find a 1699 4090. But, you know, if you do, then you already know where to go. But in its kind of defence, it's an incredibly well-made, very pretty looking, over-engineered piece of kit. There is no flex to it. It's very, very quiet. It's brutally quick out the box. You can make it quicker by downloading their GPU Tweak 3 software and just hitting the overclock button on it. It's literally just a switch. You can just flick that switch, and that's on top of the P mode and Q mode that you have for the BIOSes. So really easy to even make it quicker. You can manually overclock it. It will definitely max out the possibilities of whatever core that you get inside it. And when I say whatever core, I mean the silicon lottery. So there's a lot to be had from this if you want to play around. And it's, I think, very, very good on the eyes. It's eye candy. The Aorus, it's white. That's really where it comes down to. I think Gigabyte are losing sight of the fact that lots of people buy these cards because they are white, and the only other white one out there is in reality the Hoff, which is going to be eye-wateringly more expensive. And that is why I wish they would make the backplate white. They've got a motherboard that's out now that used to be white. They've pretty much now made that silver. Why have they done that? Because MSI and Asus have a silver motherboard now. Gigabyte, will you wake up? We buy these because they're white, they're relatively accessible, and they are available. Stop making them silver. Literally the sales are going to tank if you keep ruining stuff by copying everybody else. You did this with the old G1 Sniper motherboard. You took a green motherboard that everyone bought because it was green. You then made it red because Asus was red. And then people stopped buying it. So please, grow a pair. Make this really nice and white and pretty. Bring back a really nice white and pretty motherboard, and people will buy it just for that. But what they will do is they will buy it because it's white. I would be one of them. I would buy this because it's white and there's no other white ones around, and the build quality is all right, and as long as it's working, you've not got a problem. And have I said it's white yet? So please stop making silver bits, make them nice and white and pretty, and people will flock to buy them, because what people will do is they'll go, I'm making a white rig, you need to buy the Aero. And that's just how it will work. So, you know, there's a big rant there. I can pretty much see I'm going to have to edit something out of that already. But anyway, so there's my thoughts. Pretty much as performs like the Founders, quieter, about the same. Temperatures, about the same. Performance, the same. But it's white, it's pretty, and let's face facts, if you stood that up in the side of your system, it's big, it's fat, it grabs attention, and it does look very nice if you like a white card. Not too much RGB on it, ticks all the boxes. Strix goes like hell, looks amazing, but you really are going to have to pay a premium for it. The rest, my friends, is down to you. Please let me know what you think underneath. Like, subscribe, comment if you would like to. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. But for now, with a rather ranty video, and I don't normally do these very often, this has been the tiniest one with another video for you. Out. Ding! Love you, sis.